good. It's a triple-double for Bella Earl.
Goes matched up with a speedy guard. Great screen, spin move, layup, he missed it. Williamson fights for the board. His putback is good.
What's up, everybody? Another episode of the Straight Outta WAC podcast. It's been a couple days. Sorry about that. Life gets busy. It's going to get even busier for me this week as Friday afternoon, I guess. Tomorrow afternoon, I am flying out to Denver to go watch the Cubs play the Rockies. Unfortunately, I didn't schedule real well because we should have flown back late Sunday night so we could go catch the Broncos in their game on Sunday afternoon at Mile High, but it is what it is. So, without further ado, we're going to bring in Seattle U women's basketball head coach Skyler Young. He's in his second year as the head coach of the Redhawks, final year in the Western Athletic Conference, and then he's going back to his old stomping grounds at the West Coast Conference where he was with the Portland Pilots. So, where's he at? Skyler, are you there? There we go. There he is. How's it going, Sky?
It's going great. I'm blessed. Thank you guys for taking the time out and with this conversation. So
absolutely. How's the summer been? How you got your first full season at Seattle U, now you get your first full off season. How you feeling heading into? I mean, we're what, a month and a half away from opening day of college basketball.
Right. No, I'm feeling great. Definitely the summer was not at rest with us and completing our roster and everything in June, but it's been a great opportunity to work with the team and this group of young women, and excited about the season coming forward.
Besides recruiting and basketball, working out with your team and stuff like that, what is maybe something you do during the off season that's maybe a tradition, whether it's a family thing or maybe it's just a hey, we're going to take some time and just do whatever we want type deal?
Well, I actually love to travel, but I really love barbecuing. So I like grilling. I like getting in barbecue competitions. Didn't have time this summer to do the competition, but definitely spent some time grilling out at my place and trying new recipes and whatnot. But I like to be a grill master, I like to say.
Are you grill or smoking or both?
Both. We smoke some brisket, ribs and things like whatnot, but also get on that grill with some chicken and whatever else. So I like to be creative. So
I like it. What's maybe your most favorite thing that I'll say smoke, because I've gotten into smoking meat lately and over the last year, so I'm curious.
I got really into smoking ribs. I love ribs. That's probably my specialty, but getting more advanced into techniques and whatnot, how to smoke them and add different flavors to them. So I love it.
I like it. Daryl, chime in here from sunny, smoky California right now.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week out here. Skies, you guys enter the your final campaign in the WAC. Take a look back at last year. There were definitely some ups and downs, but what were you the most proud of that group? Maybe the way they handled that 14-game losing streak in the middle of the season, the way they finished out the year winning 5 of their final 8. What were you the most proud of the first edition of the Redhawks under your tutelage?
I think that just the resilience, fighting through. And one thing we always say, even in our program, is just 1% better. And that's always try to strive towards, is becoming the best version of ourselves, going into March. And I felt last year, even going into that stretch of 14 games, we had some games we probably could have won, but they didn't hang their heads. We just moved forward to the next, and you saw the results towards the end of the season. I'm really proud of that group, how they kept striving and put themselves in position to get into the WAC tournament. Fell a little short, but they kept fighting to the very end.
How crazy was it I shouldn't say crazy. I feel like awesome is a better word, that everything in regard to that WAC tournament came down to the last day, and I think there was like 6 teams in one, for maybe 2 spots. Just how fun. I I don't even know if fun is the right word there for a coach, because you're like, we got to do this. We have to win. We have, but how cool is it when something like that, a conference race, comes down to the final day or two of the regular season?
It was fun. It's exciting. It gave a tournament feel through that whole month of February for us. We said every game was marching towards March, and every game had a life of its own, and every game mattered. So we pretty much, as a staff, relayed to the players that it was tournament game every game we set out in February, and that's the way we kind of played. Obviously, ran out a little gas at the end against a good Tarleton team, but I was proud of that. But it was basically tournament play the whole month of February.
I want to ask you. You've been on the West Coast for a while now. Was there something about the Western Athletic Conference last year that you learned that maybe you didn't know beforehand? I mean, and I know you've watched a lot of games, in your career, and I'm sure you watched a lot of Western Athletic Conference games before you took over as head coach. But and you're familiar with playing some of the WAC teams too. So, was there something you learned that maybe you're going to do differently, or you'll apply this year that you didn't? That maybe you learned last year?
Just getting familiar with some of the teams I haven't competed against, and definitely the teams in Texas. It's different styles of play in different regions you go to. Definitely made some adjustments with travel. It's definitely going down to Texas in those road trips, but I kind of like the way we did it. We took some days off. We really, once we got into the conference and the travel became hectic, it was more like an NBA style, pro style. And that's what I tell our players now, is like, we try to treat this as a professional organization. So I wouldn't adjust too much. I think I stay with the same strategy of giving players more days off, where we walk through things instead of just grinding every day, because the travel will take a toll on you at times. So, the biggest thing I learned is just the different styles of play. I would say that's the number one thing.
Sky, looking at your group this year, one returner that saw significant time in Juliana Walker. Otherwise, it's a retooled roster with 5 portal transfers and 4 true freshmen. Talk about the excitement you have in taking this new group to the floor in the final year of the WAC and trying to make some progress up that board, which is admittedly very competitive before you guys leave for the WCC.
Yes, this group, we set out in this offseason to bring the best talent possible, regardless of position. I think you can kind of figure out how you want to adjust it, but we did have a strategy of the type of athletes we want to bring into our program. You can probably look at our roster. We're a lot longer and a little more athletic than we were last year. So that was the fun piece of just recruiting process. And then the big thing is just personalities that suit the head coach as well. We got a lot of athletes, whether they're freshmen or the transfers, they put in work every day. They're in the gym shooting on their own, even if we don't have practice. So they really align with our mentality of, outwork yesterday, is a saying we say. So really excited about that group. But then going to the, WAC, it's a tough conference. Obviously, you can name the names, Cal Bap, GCU, UTA. Those teams will probably be near the top, or if not the top of the league for sure. But looking to, maybe shake some things up this year, but very excited, and now got a feel for things. And the biggest thing with this league, no matter where the team is, whether they're last or first place, it is a grind and it's a battle night in and night out. You better have your game plan ready, and you better be ready to fight for 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think we saw that quite a bit last year, especially with, a Utah Tech team beating an SFA squad in the regular season finale, or Utah Valley pulling off the upset over California Baptist. And, I agree with you 100% that it's a grind, and you got to bring your game every night, or else there's, teams can win games that maybe people don't expect them to. So I like that. I want to ask you about your non-conference slate. You go to Texas once. You go play Sam Houston as part of that WAC Conference USA Alliance, but then everything else is kind of in the West, like it's in Arizona or California. Is that by design, that you, like you said, with the travel in the WAC, that you want to make the travel in those first 2 months a little less hectic than what you get when you play, conference ball?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a strategy of putting this schedule together this year, is stay more West Coast, but still have a challenging non-conference. You know, we have 7 road games in non-conference, and that was by design as well. But yes, to your point, is didn't want to go way out to the East Coast this season for a tournament or something and come way back, because once we get into the WAC, as you know, some of those road trips become longer. I won't. Everybody has to travel everywhere, but we're the only team way up in the Northwest, so our travel is a little different than a lot of people. So,
I think Daryl and I were asking each other when we saw the GCU women's basketball. They released their schedule today, and we saw that you guys are going to Phoenix for an MTE. You won't play the Lopes in it, which is understandable because you're in the same conference. But like, I think Daryl and I both had the same thought. Like, is that a rare thing to see two teams from the same league in an MTE, and maybe how that played out? I guess if you can maybe elaborate on that.
yeah, you know, I have tremendous respect for Coach Molly down there at GCU, and when the opportunity, you know, presented itself with adding a few more games, and they had this opportunity, I was like all for it. Not only don't we play them, but the bigger thing I saw is we get to play 2 games on their home floor before we even get into the WAC. So once we get into the WAC, we'll have a familiarity of the surroundings, the atmosphere, but also just in a great environment that they bring as a women's program in our conference. And I thank Coach Molly for allowing us to be a part of that.
Sky, take a look at your roster this year. Has anybody stood out in the course of the summer and spring workouts that fans should expect maybe to see on possibly a preseason all-WAC team?
You know, they probably won't be on the preseason WAC team because they weren't here last year. But, you know, all our young women are showing strides and getting better every day. But in particular, you're probably going to talk to her later on, is Ty. She's definitely put in a lot of work. She's expanded her game. She's a 6'2" guard. Basically can play 1 through 5 if we needed her to, but she could really shoot the lights out the basketball. And we're excited about her, but I'm excited about everybody on this team. One thing with this team is just as a unified group. Everybody brings something to the table. One thing I will say about the total whole of our team is everybody can shoot the basketball. There's no sagging in the paint against us this coming season. That I feel that everybody can stretch the floor, and we got a great inside presence as well. So I think it's multiple players that could be up for it, but will they? No, people haven't seen them, but I'm excited about the whole group.
Looking at, you know, last year's numbers, obviously minus 11 scoring margin, something that needs to be addressed. Defensively, you guys gave up nearly 76 points per game, which was last in the WAC in defensive scoring. Do you feel like the additions you've made will make a dent in that, you know, that points per game defensive number?
Absolutely. I think we will be able to adjust that number a little bit in the right direction, just with our length and athleticism, the style we want to play. Now you'll see a little different. You'll see some similarities as well, but we'll be able to get out and extend our defense more 94 feet than just half court that we did towards the end of the season. So I think our length will be a great credit to us, because I think we gave up a tremendous amount of threes that we shouldn't have been giving up, and we'll be able to guard the line a little better. But also with our length, even if it's speed advantages, I think our length will be able to minimize dribble penetration as well, where we got hurt at. So
maybe I asked you this last year when we talked on this podcast, but what, you know, you talked about the length, the athleticism you have, and your girls can shoot, you know, from the perimeter. Are you a half court guy, or you want to get up and go and score as many points? I mean, I know Daryl pointed out the giving up so many points per game, but like sometimes coaches are just like, I just want to score as many as we can and out. I mean, it's all about outscoring the opponent, right? But like, what's your thought on that? And maybe I know you talked about different styles in the WAC, but you know, you see some teams that just score a lot of points and maybe get a stop here or there that kind of turns the tide. Is that what you're looking for? Or is it more see how the ebbs and flows of the game go in a sense?
No, I think we have to, distinguish our style of play and put it on our opponents to match that. So saying we say we're going to play fast and furious. I know in the non-conference last year, you probably saw some things of us pressing, going full court pressure and whatnot. And we're definitely going to do that this season into our half court defense, because offensively, I am an offensive coach that I do want to push it down the floor. I do want to, shoot transition threes, get it inside out, create that up-tempo style of play, but also defensively be the same way, where both sides of the ball match. Fast and furious is what we're going to call it.
Makes a lot of sense. Sky, I want to ask you, just had a new performance center open up. How do you feel about that? I mean, it's a big step in the right direction for, I feel like, Seattle U, and I think Chris Victor said the same thing last week when I talked to him. What are your thoughts on it, and are you excited about that new performance center?
Oh, it's definitely a blessing, and we're very gracious and grateful for our donors who helped establish that. Definitely, brand new space, got more space in there, knocked some walls out. But, a big thing with that too is not just, the weights and all the equipment in there. It's the nutrition part of it too. We have a nutrition stations where players can get shakes and whatnot, milk, chocolate milks and protein bars, where we can literally be ready to move forward as an elite program in the next few years, matching any opponent that we may face in any school that we may recruit against as well. It's a big tool both ways for our athletes now, but then also a recruiting piece. I don't think a lot of programs have it. And as you said, being from the WCC prior to this, I don't think a lot of WCC programs that I saw have this opportunity that our student athletes have here.
Sky, you talk about that WCC announcement. Did you feel like it helped you on the recruiting trail, settling the conference, because people were talking about at the tail end of last year, is Seattle going to go? Is GCU going to go? Are they going to go together? Do you feel like settling that issue helped you on the recruiting trail this year?
Absolutely. When the announcement came out, we had we had a lot of our transfers, particularly already committed and coming here, but definitely for the future classes, the interest is pretty good. That's all I'm going to say. It's really good. The top players in our area in the Northwest are now, looking at us with, other schools, other conferences disbanding, and now we're in the WCC, an elite basketball conference. It's definitely helped recruiting and just the type of players we're able to connect with and come to our campus that we didn't have the opportunity with before. But yeah, that definitely announcement helped enhance recruiting right away. A lot of decisions to make, good decisions though, to make.
Are you excited? I mean, you get Portland in your non-conference schedule again this year. Are you excited to play them twice a year, in the next, when that all comes about in, next year?
You're never excited to play against Michael Meek, but I love Mike. But I love that game. Definitely had a great run at Portland when I was a part of that staff there. Love that staff to death. But also what I consider is one of the best coaches in the West Coast, whether people say or not. Why not challenge yourself against somebody like that and a team like that? Because that's the level we want to get to. We want to become a championship program. So playing them is great. And now get to play them 2 times in the coming years will be great as well. But yeah, scheduling that game was a no-brainer, just to challenge ourselves, to prepare us for the WAC and be challenged by an NCAA tournament team.
Dale, you got your rapid fire questions ready?
Yes, I do.
All right, here we go. We're going to end up with these rapid fire questions, Sky, and it's always a good time. They're not quite rapid fire just because, we have to ask some details on some things just to get, a follow-up. So go ahead, Daryl. These are always great answers. I love these. This moment's always fun of this podcast.
All right. We'll start with favorite Seattle dining spot.
Ooh, good question.
Ooh. Ume Saki House. It's a great sushi joint on 2nd Avenue.
Ooh. It's the first sushi response we've gotten this year.
Yeah, I'm not a sushi guy, so I can't say much on that.
It's a great joint. If you love sushi, definitely like happy hour sushi. Woo, you get it half off. Oh my gosh. I always save up for late lunches.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice. All right.
Favorite trip in the WAC from last year?
Man, Abilene Christian, Tarleton. And the reason I say that would be like, dang, Stevensville and where Abilene is. Our bus, when we played Abilene, our bus broke down the next day, and it was amazing. We stopped at a truck stop waiting for our bus to get fixed or actually change out buses, and our team was playing touch football for about 2 hours and doing homework. It was just a great experience, and we go back to Abilene, practice for like 45 minutes, get back on the bus, long trip back down to Tarleton, and then we come out with a victory, and we really had minimum prep for it. We just a lot of video, a lot of film, a lot of team bonding during that trip, and it resulted in a great victory, which kind of spurred our run a little bit. So I would say that's the most memorable trip of last season.
You're in West Texas. Of course, they're going to play touch football while you have a break. Oh,
I don't know if you guys know this, but out here in California, girls flag football is actually a CIF sanctioned sport starting this year.
Wow.
Yes,
so
huge up here too. So
that's awesome.
Let's see. Favorite dessert?
Man, can I have a tie for two?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. A good peach cobbler.
Okay.
And then I would say cheesecake.
Any specific kind or just regular cheesecake?
Strawberry basic cheesecake. Yep. A little strawberry drizzle on top.
Nice.
Oh, you're with me, Sky. If you bring on the CBU trip, you have to visit the Cheesecake Factory in Riverside.
Yeah, we do that quite a bit here on our visits because I love cheesecake.
Yeah, my wife, last weekend I was in Brigham City, Utah, where they have peach days. And we stop at the fruit stands. They're selling their fresh picked peaches and everything else. So she made peach cobbler this week, and
awesome,
good stuff. Peach cobbler and vanilla ice cream. Never go wrong.
All right. What is on the Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount binge watching list this summer?
This is always a classic question. I love the answers we get sometimes.
Man, it's crazy. I do not watch any of those really. I don't stream a lot. I watch a lot of sports. That's all I really watch.
Okay, so then we'll go back to the Olympics. What was outside of the basketball? What was your favorite Olympic event to watch this time around? This
will be crazy. Some people synchronized diving.
I can appreciate that.
I was amazed. Like you think about the amount of practice they have to do to be exactly in unison, with their movements in the air and to land in the water at the same time. And I'm like, that has to be the most synchronized sport there is, a synergistic sport, which, in basketball, you want to be the same way. You want to be on the same page of everything. But it was interesting. It had me in my, my hamster wheel. I was just watching it all the time.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so with the sports thing too, outside of the Olympics, are you a Mariners Seahawks fan, or do you have a different team? We're going to put you on the spot here. I mean, I know you coach at Seattle U, and so I have to ask.
Detroit Tigers, Detroit Lions.
Okay, all right, we can handle that.
I gotta go with the home state. So, to this year's the Lions year though. Super Bowl, mark it now.
Pretty well.
Sky, I was born in SoCal, but I spent 6.5 years on the East Coast, just outside of Philadelphia. I grew up a University of Delaware,
nice.
Philadelphia Eagles, Philadelphia Phillies fan. So when we moved back to SoCal, I was watching Delaware games when they had Atlanta Deladon and Kayla Miller at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, with Delaware radio on in the background. Eagles games 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning when they were on nationally. So I get it. I still read the News Journal.
Yeah, I definitely love it. Definitely during the NFL season when the Lions will play about 10 a.m. out here. I can practice or watch them play and then do all my film where they don't play right in the middle of the day or something or late at night a lot. So,
well, what was it? It was Sunday Night Football. Were you jumping out of your couch when David Montgomery just plowed into the end zone in overtime to win that game?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I cut it off at the end of the fourth quarter for a minute because I thought we blew the game. And then I was like, let me turn it back on. I was like, overtime. Great. And then I watched it again. But, yeah, I thought we blew it for a minute.
You know what? Here's the crazy thing. I did that the 2016 World Series when the Cubs gave up that 3-run home run in the 8th inning to Rajay Davis when they tied it up. So I kind of gave up on my Cubs there. And then they end up winning in extra innings. So I feel your pain there. I feel your pain thinking that, the team. Yeah. All right, Daryl. You got more.
And then to finish it off, what is one item that is on your sports fan bucket list?
Oof. Go to Fenway Park.
Oh, I like it.
I haven't been there. I drove past it, walked past it, but I never went to a game there, and I want to go to a game one day at Fenway.
I like it.
Not a Boston Red Sox fan either, but I just think that's a place you have to go to at some point.
Yeah, you just have to appreciate the history of the ballpark.
Right.
So I'm assuming since you said Fenway that you've been to Wrigley Field before.
Absolutely. Many times. Yeah.
All right. That's good. So, yeah, Fenway Park, that's absolutely a bucket list. I can respect that. So, yeah. Sky, we appreciate the time. We know it's a busy time of the year. Looking forward to it. Like I said, we got a month and a half till tip off the 2024-25 season, last one for the Seattle U Redhawks. And we appreciate you taking the time today. And just for clarification, it's Ty Kozlova. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay. You're right. We're talking to her later this afternoon. And so I just want to make sure our pronunciation is correct.
That is perfect.
All right. Anyway, Sky, appreciate the time. Good luck this season. Stay healthy. And, we'll talk to you on the other side.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Sky.
It. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Straight Outta WAC Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta WAC Podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow WAC Hoops Nation on all your favorite social media platforms.